What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Overwatch 80k Spotlight Takeover. It is the losers bracket final, which means Elite Gaming taking on Team Mist, and the winner goes through to the grand final versus Vidir Esports, where they stand a chance of winning 15,000 Rand, which is about 2,000 Rand a player. Not too bad. I am Trinoc, and with me tonight is Naori. My internet is freaking out a little bit, so if frames get dropping, which every time I look at the frames, they drop, I'm going to stop the stream, and then I apologize for that. But until then, Naori's going to tell you things. You're not going to tell them things?
Tell who things?
Did you not hear me say all those words?
No, I didn't hear you say a thing.
I said a whole bunch of words that included your name. And
this happens every time. I think you're doing something wrong because every time you start the stream, you like do this whole introduction and then you shout at me for not speaking and I never hear you.
yeah, because you weren't speaking.
Yeah, but I didn't hear what you said. I think you were muted and you just didn't realize it.
I was talking about the losers bracket and how Elite Gaming and Team Mist, the winner goes through to the grand finals versus Vidir, where they can win 10,000 Rand in cash, which is about 2,000 Rand a player. And then I said, you're going to say words.
Then you said I'm gonna what?
Say words.
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear any of that, but I heard it that time, so pretty exciting game, yeah, as you said, losers bracket. And of course, this is these teams' last chance. Obviously, in order to get to the losers bracket, you must have lost games along the way, so it's probably been a bit of an uphill battle for every single one of these players. And now, as we get into this match, they do realize that this is their last-ditch effort to get second place, you know, at the very least, and then to aim for that first placing and the prize money that goes with it. So very, very important matchup for both of these teams. And I think I'm excited to see what kind of compositions we're gonna be seeing here, because what we've been seeing so far throughout this tournament has been a wide variety of interesting things. It hasn't just been like goats. We've seen a lot of cool stuff. We've seen some Reaper picks. We've seen some, DPS heavy compositions. We've even seen some tank heavy compositions. It's going to be a good match, I think.
Yeah, I definitely think that given that it's the bracket finals, that we're going to see something come out of this. Hopefully not a 3-0 wipe that we've seen for the past two games in the spotlight. And my upload is now 600 kilobytes. Woo!
Is that a good thing?
No.
Oh.
It should be over 2,000.
6,000 is over 2,000?
600 is not.
Oh, I thought you said 6,000. Well. We're just waiting for a sub. So we'll just wait here patiently as we wait for the
Are they
sub
going to Lijiang Tower first? Is that correct, or is that just a thing?
I believe so. Let's double check that. Lijiang first? Question mark? Okay, yes. Lijiang Tower will be the first map that we are going to, and I think we can see some interesting stuff here, particularly on Control Center. That's a really May favored map. We do see a lot of that. We've also seen some very interesting compositions with a Junkrat in place of a Pharah. You know, if you're going to be running a spam composition, you swap out the Pharah because of the low ceilings. You bring in a Junkrat instead, and you can get a lot of the same damage and potential out of it, but with a little bit more survivability. So we might be seeing a little bit of that, and of course, probably a lot of Moira, because the small enclosed areas means that her healing becomes a lot more effective. And if there are going to be spam compositions, then likely they're going to be using that to help deal with the spam. On the other two maps, and those are very DPS heavy maps, but they're also decent goats maps. But if we do see goats coming out into the triple or quad DPS, then it's going to be a bad time for whichever team decides to run that goats composition. So I suppose we're just going to have to wait a little while longer as we, we're just waiting for that sub. Soon TM.
But there are 6 players in the team. Is that just not a thing?
I don't know. No, they're getting a sub. I don't know why, but they are getting a sub.
Okay.
Correct. I don't know why.
I don't know either.
Yeah. And somebody else is getting a sub in like the second game, I think. of subbing going on here. It might be like map dependent stuff. Maybe. You know, a lot of players have a very specific hero pool, and they use that in very specific compositions, and the map can greatly affect which heroes you want to run, and thus affect which players you want to put in. So that's possibly what's going on here. Don't know.
Sure, I agree. I mean, yeah, you don't want a player that you haven't really practiced much with. Maybe as like a last bit of desperate attempt, you'll bring him in, but you definitely want that more comfortable sub player. I'm not too sure on the ruling on subs, or if there's a specific amount of time that the players have before they have to start with what they've got, but we'll find out in due time. We do have Miner as the coach for Team Mist and Mike Lely as Elite Gaming coach, so it's going to be interesting. Do you think we're going to see stylistically Mike Lely's style coming out of Elite Gaming and Miner? I haven't seen Miner play much, but I know Mike Lely's style.
I mean, Michael Lele's style is frontlining as Zen, so hopefully we won't see too much of that from Elite Gaming. You know, he tends to get away with it because they are a very high-rated team, and for a long time they've been fairly uncontested, depending on who they play against. But that's definitely not something that I want filtered down into other teams as well. I don't know if their style so much will come through. I think it's more, you know, when you're coaching a lower SR team, you're not really coaching that. You're coaching the absolute basics, because the reason that they're in the lower SR is because they don't have those basics, and that's why they can't climb. So you are really looking at things like basic positioning, basic macro, alt economy, communication. It's those big important things, and less so about, you know, what kind of a style. Are you flanky? Are you aggressive? Are you passive? It's really not about that. It's so much more focused on the big major events, and of course just general awareness. Awareness is a big problem. So unlikely that we're going to be seeing any sort of style coming through here. We are, however, going to be seeing Control Center, and I'm wondering how legit. Okay, there we go. Assemble your heroes.
Wait, what? You were wondering something, and then you answered the question before wondering the question.
Yeah, there was like 3 or 4 DPS heroes on Mist Gaming, and I got really excited, and then it wasn't in Assemble.
I mean, we haven't even
yet.
gotten into the part where they've actually spawned into the map yet.
Yeah, assemble your heroes. That's
No, we're in the 30 seconds before the minute timer.
Yeah, that's assemble your heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why would...
We're agreeing.
No, you're... Okay, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We're gonna see the hero lineups now as we finally get into the ready for battle phase. The final 30 seconds. And break me down. It looks like we got... Yeah, Zarya Ryan with 2 DPS on Team Mist. And similar things happening. Actually, a Goats, a 3-3, standard 3-3 for Elite Gaming.
The standard 3-3 should win out here. Reaper is very easy to deal with. Yes, he does have immense damage output, but Reaper's very easy to deal with in a general sense. That Soldier is also not ideal. Just in a general sense, I prefer Hanzo because of his versatility, his pick potential. He's a lot stronger hero here, so not too sure how well this 2-2 is going to do, but we have been surprised in the past, particularly by a Reaper pick, so maybe they make it work.
Let's see who can get the first pick here. Pritz going a bit too deep, gets DMAC'd, and his fellow tank of Arctos goes down, so the 3-3 not working out too well. Kita looking low. And it's all Team Mist on the point. Prince gets focused down by the Mercio of Lolgod. And they're going to get the first capture. A quick fight for Team Mist. Elite Gaming on the back foot.
That initial pick-off from Mist Falcon getting rid of the Lucio was absolutely instrumental in helping them to destabilize the composition that Elite Gaming were running. A little bit unfortunate for them, but they're going to be coming through here. No ultimates as yet, and of course there's the Earthshatter.
Yeah, as you were just talking about the Earthshatter, and they threw it right out, getting some good value out of that. Stopping them in that bottleneck, but Arctos managing to push through with Kita. Arctos looking low, Rail getting behind with the particle barrier, not too afraid of getting spammed down. Does manage to get the pick, and Kita falls as well. That's going to be a reset for Elite Gaming. And unfortunately for Elite Gaming. They just couldn't get through that choke.
They could not, but they do have the sound barrier online, which they can engage with, and it looks like they're going to go for quite a long rotation here, which is an interesting choice. It's fairly simple for Mist Gaming to head them off, but instead of meeting them in the middle, they've decided to go around as well. Some very interesting choices here, but Elite have a lot of ultimates online.
Wow, there we go. Death Blossom straight in. Gets some good value getting rid of Naughty Monk from the start. Mist Falcon pops off with the Reinhardt and the hammer. And JHM just sitting pretty. But there are 2 ultimates coming up for Elite Gaming into the next fight. And those could be used to great effect. Rally is going to be ready as well.
Yep, that's a lot of big ultimates coming online here. And they can, once again, they can engage with one of these support ultimates. Maybe get a brig bash onto the Rhine and a big Earth Shatter. Ah, they didn't.
The shadow didn't go off, but the sound barrier did, so there was a little bit of armor. They didn't make use of it, however, didn't quite engage when they needed to. Trizzle with the Reaper, just going to spam down, self-destruct, going behind, does get value. 2 down. This is Elite Gaming's time to push, as Trizzle, last line of defense, just spamming those dual guns. Unable to do much, just constantly being pushed back, and now Elite Gaming is on the point, ready to rock and roll. Overtime is up. So, this is the do or die for Elite Gaming in the defense. Team Mist has been pushed all the way back, but they still have a whole bunch of charge to work with. I don't know. What do you call that? Percentage?
Ult charge, yes. As you say, 3 ultimates online. 4, in fact, if you count that grab that's about to be up here. This is looking so good for Mist with no defensive ultimates here from Elite Gaming. It's not looking too good. The bash gets stopped by the bubble, which means that they've got nothing.
Oh, Earthshatter from Octos might have just stopped the attack and put capitalization onto that Graviton Surge. Counter grab goes through. Trizzle with the Death Blossom not getting effect, shielded away. JSM throwing away too many out here on the back foot. Sound barrier is out, and that's just going to sustain Elite Gaming through this point, and they're going to be able to hold it for a second fight in a row. And it looks like this times are changing.
Interesting that Elite are managing to hold so well here. It seems like their attack isn't as strong as their defense. Yes, they did manage to come through with a couple of ultimates. They did very well there. But all of their attacks up until that point had been very split and a little bit kind of helter-skelter. Whereas now with their defense, they're staying together and they're playing the GOAT composition properly. They're not splitting up. But with 3 ultimates online, they are looking good here, but they're going to need to be careful because Mist Falcon has that Earth Shadow, and if they get caught out, it's all over.
But the self-destruct does go up over the top. Logo could get caught. Is in the fade, but does take out Trizzle instead. Coalescence from Naughty Monk just going to get some damage and heal through. Pretz popping off, getting rid of Misty Falcon. Means that Elite Gaming once again sitting pretty on this point, 76% and climbing, and it's only Real, Logod, and Cool Dressing left to try win this one out. Although Kita overextending could get surrounded, does get taken out by a boot from Cool Dressing, and now JSM gonna just react on that pick, push onto the point, and go for gold. Graviton Surge out, and Coalescence in. So, every out being thrown out here just to make sure that you can get control of this point. A nice little Earth Shatter gets rid of Octos. But right now, the team is really even, just trading back and forth. The overtime is on. It's a 99-99 split. And JSM do not look to be gaining any ground in this fight. As Elite Gaming just booping back, rallying around the diva of Pretz. But Melson finding Kita now. That could be a central pick. Getting rid of that heavy support, that dangerous Brigida. Oh, and the Death Blossom is out. Let's get Naughty Monk, Earthshatter is on, charging in. JSM turned the fight immediately into their favor and going to take that flip and take the round.
What a crazy fight there, and Team Mist Gaming did really well to do a little bit of a soft disengage, and then they got that nice pick off onto Kita, who was very heavily out of position, and as soon as that pick off came through, it was so easy for them to push straight onto point and take control in that 6v5. I would have liked to have seen a Zenyatta instead of the Moira, because the Discord orb really cannot be overstated, and I think that really did a lot to kind of help them, you know, lose the point fairly quickly. And again, like their defense just started to fall apart. What I was talking about, what happened to them on attack, where they were so split up, it was starting to happen on their defense as well. They were really struggling to hold on and stay together and fight together. Their supports were off on the side somewhere. The tanks were alone with no backup. It really was a mess. But now we're going to come through onto the next map here, and we are going to be seeing Soldier with a Pharah, and the Pharah is very good on this map. Nice high skybox, and there's a lot of boot potential as well, coming into a float composition. And here I like that Moira. I think it's going to work a lot better.
Yeah, a little bit more aggression from Elite Gaming as they just dive on through the gaps with that Winston. Cool Dressing doing the best he can to try to keep his team alive, but Elite Gaming have gotten the picks and they are going to be able to capitalize on the situation. Low guard goes down, and that's a huge support out for JSM as Elite Gaming just going to be able to take onto that point, come with numbers, and push JSM all the way back to spawn.
Very well played there. And again, that Moira getting so much value, getting lots and lots of healing. Missed Falcon, what happened there was he actually charged onto point and died on his way in. And you don't want to just be charging arbitrarily as Reinhardt. Yes, it is an ability, but it's not an ability you want to be using too often. Now Elite really have a massive advantage here. They've got the highest ult economy of the two teams, and they're looking good to hold.
Indeed, they are looking nice and pretty on the point, and the barrage does go out, but with Misty Falcon going down, it's not going to allow them to get much. Revive is out on Misty Falcon, so this could be an opportunity for JHM to push onto the point. Primal Rage out, just going to be booping around. Cool Dressing is going to get dropped down into the well, and seems to gain some value is Octos from that Primal Rage. Although the numbers are on JHM's side as they move on to this point, the attack visor might have been wasted by Trizzle, but it doesn't really matter as they have control of the fight. Could matter in the long run though, Sam.
Metal Snow with the barrage there did get taken out by the Zarya, and it was somewhat worth. What really isn't worth is Kita using this rally. I'm not too sure what was going through their mind when they decided to rally there. Really unfortunate. Now they don't have that ultimate. So you really need to pick and choose when it's worth to use those ultimates. Even though Metal Snow died in the middle of barrage, did still get 2 picks, and the numbers game was heavily in favor of Team Mist. And that's the kind of sacrifice that you want to be willing to make. And now Team Mist have got 4 ultimates online, 2 defensive ultimates, 2 CC ultimates. They are looking stacked going into this next fight.
Looking like it's going to be good for Octus. Gets knocked out mid-air from a hammer by the big man. The Reinhardt does manage to find Cool Dressing, however, and then gets mounted by Metal Snow and Trizzle in support. Cool Dressing back in the fight, so Team Mist once again got a 6 stack and not going anywhere fast as they move straight into that tide room, taking the fight to Elite Gaming, and it's just Kita remaining. And that is the end of that.
Thank goodness Kita didn't have rally available. Might have used it.
I almost did. They almost had it up.
Oof.
That was probably that was just praying for the rally to pop up so they could spam it down.
Thankfully, they do still have that ultimate ready to use here, and they can use it as a nice engage. They've got 2 other ultimates about to come online as well, so looking good. But they do need to be careful of that Graviton Surge, especially if it gets partnered up with the Barrage or the Death Blossom, which is also just around the corner. Oh, the boom!
Yeah, Metal Snow has been on point with that Concussion Blast tonight. And there we go, the Graviton Surge with the Barrage is just too strong. The Sound Barrier and the Rally did go out, but all left was Akita alone and afraid in a corner, swinging that chain, trying to get some value out of it, and he goes into the drink as well. And now it's just an absolute decimation. The ultimates working in favor of Team Mist as they take map number 1.
Really well played there. I mean, I was talking about the Graviton Surge with the Barrage or the Death Blast, and of course they decided to just use all of them. They knew it was last fight territory. All they needed to do was get those last kills, and that's exactly what they did, and they held on to that point. And it really, you cannot emphasize the importance of proper ult economy, making sure that you're not throwing ultimates unnecessarily. We saw a couple of, stacked support ultimates there. We saw Kita throwing out an ultimate unnecessarily. I just felt like the ult economy from Team Mist was so much better. They took a couple of risks, but they were calculated risks. They were really thinking about what they were doing. Why were they throwing out that ultimate? Will they still get value out of it? Case in point, that barrage that I mentioned earlier. So Team Mist definitely have the upper hand here in that regard. But these are fairly contested matches, so I think that Elite Gaming still have a chance to bring this back.
I reckon so. I mean, there was some close fights there, especially first point and control point. Elite Gaming truly showed what they can do if they work together and don't just let the Brigitte run around popping rallies everywhere. Unfortunately for them, they did run into that brick wall of ultimates from the Team Mist in the final round, and it was just too little too late for them to come back from that. So into the second map, a hybrid map, it could be Elite Gaming's time to shine.
It could indeed, and it looks like there's going to be a swap, substitution coming in. Mangoes is going to be joining onto Elite Gaming. We did see the swap up earlier from Elite as well. Looks like they're just going to be swapping it back in, and I'm expecting to see more goats. I see that Elite Gaming have been running that pretty consistently, and it's good to see they are trying to run a proper meta. Team Mist Gaming not too concerned with meta. They're doing quite well with what they are running, and what that tells me is that Elite Gaming. They haven't quite come to grips with how the goats composition works, because on paper they should be decimating Team Mist Gaming. They should really be kind of rolling over their composition. So they need to be looking at how they're running, how they're using their cooldowns. Again, the ultimates that I was talking about earlier. From Team Mist, I'm kind of hoping that they go for a little bit more out there. The 222 it's getting a little stale here. I know a lot of people would argue with me about that, but I really want to be seeing a little bit more DPS. The spam damage is so strong, especially coming into Hanamura with that first choke point. If you're on defense, if you can get tons and tons of spam down that choke point, you can do so much. You can build up your ults ridiculously quickly. And with 3 DPS ultimates, I mean, it looks really good for whichever team is running that. So really hoping to see that. But I think what we might see, in fact, is some bunker composition. A little bit of Orisa, a little bit of Torbjorn, maybe a little bit of May there as well. The Clockwork Vendetta comp might be what we're going to be seeing.
Looks like we're going to Hanamura, which means my map pool selection that I was sent is out of date. Maybe it's changed for the finals. But Hanamura can be quite a close combated map.
Apparently it's meant to be escort. Maybe. It seems no one really knows what map we're supposed to be playing right now, which is a little bit awkward.
Just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit. Let me go back to my rules.
Control, escort, assault, hybrid. Okay, so Dorado, it looks like. All right.
So I was wrong anyway. I had hybrid instead of escort.
Close enough.
Same, but different. But still same.
Still same, yeah. So, disregard everything that I just said about Hanamura and choke points. We'll come back to that a little bit later if necessary. We'll be looking at Dorado here. And as we did mention, this is an escort map. They don't need to take control of a point, which might help Elite Gaming. Because it feels like they were kind of struggling to, get points and hold on to points here. Now they just kind of have to stay on the payload. Hopefully they will be able to. But in an escort map, the ult economy becomes quite important because, you can so easily turn the fight around with a well-placed ultimate. Even if your team is on the back foot, if you are watching cooldowns correctly and if you're ult tracking correctly, you can very easily turn the fight around with 1 or 2 ultimates. So this is somewhere where I think Team Mist are really going to shine, and it's somewhere where Elite Gaming are going to need to be paying a lot of attention. I'm expecting to see possibly some snipers here. We do see that fairly often, the Pharah and an Ashe or a Widowmaker. Might even see a little bit of that Hanzo. Dragon Strike being quite powerful in these small enclosed areas, and it looks like defensively we are going to be seeing that bunker composition. Orisa with the Roadhog, really great for that halt hook combination. Tons of spam damage from the Junkrat, and of course, what is a bunker without a Batiste? Over on the attack, it looks like, yes, Elite Gaming, they're going to be sticking with their GOATS composition. Hopefully it works out a little bit better for them. They are going to have to be careful about how they rotate. They don't want to be going kind of straight through the streets phase because they're going to take tons and tons of damage. The best thing that they could possibly do is come up from below and engage right onto the bunker and attack it. What I think would also be a good idea is a quad tank, but it looks like they're going to make a lot of swap-ups here. They did a bit of scouting, and it looks like it's going to be a Pharah, a Hanzo, and a Reaper. So there's that triple DPS I wanted.
Well, I mean, you wanted quad DPS, but triple DPS will do for now as I Love Mangoes pops over the top, just trying to spam down into the shields of that Orisa from Mr. Falcon. Reaper has worked his way behind, looking to go up the stairs and does have support of the sniper of the Hanzo with the tank coming in, but getting instantly removed from that situation. Arctos has to make a hasty escape, also lose his life in the process. Although in the meantime, well distracted, Elite Gaming has managed to push the payload almost all the way through the choke, and that's a huge choke to get through. The invincibility from the Baptiste not going to be enough, and the payload keeps on rolling. Team Mist finally able to get some handle on the situation as they get Trizzle on top of it just to stall it out. But Elite Gaming has done well to split the focus and move that payload basically into the second or the first capture point.
Full dressing is absolutely popping off on this Zenyatta. Every time it looks like Elite Gaming are taking a lead or evening it out, Cool Dressing just absolutely frags out. I mean, look at his ult charge as well. He's doing so well, and it seems we're falling for a pause here. I don't know who has control of the lobby. I think there is a problem inside. Whoever has control hasn't noticed.
Whoever has control is either involved with all the ultimates being thrown out right now, or is sitting somewhere in a hole trying to hide away from all the ultimates being thrown out here. Needless to say, Elite Gaming come out on top as a result, and the pause is going to go through eventually.
A little bit awkward here. It seems that the pause didn't work. Okay, it is meant to be hybrid apparently. Oh my goodness me.
That's what I was saying. It's meant to be control hybrid. Yeah, I was looking. I was so confused because I know for other leagues it's control escort, and then for this one it's control hybrid assault escort. So I think that's where the confusion comes in. They've already started this map. They might as well keep going, right?
I mean, that's kind of my thought on it, but of course there are some rules, and we can't really override those tournament rules. So I think they are going to be double checking. I think Mish is also probably checked with an admin somewhere. He seems quite adamant. But everybody's going to be checking the rules now just to double check themselves. Just to make sure, you don't want somebody to call out and say, no, we're going to call a miss game or whatever because you made us play the wrong map or whatever. So everybody wants to be 100% sure here. It seems Mish has double checked with the admins and that it is meant to be a hybrid map. So we probably going to be restarting and go ahead and change the map.
You see, I was checking my rules, and then you said it's control escort, so I assumed you were reading it off rules too. And if I had checked my rules, I would have seen that it was control hybrid, and I would have contested it. But I mean, also as a caster, we shouldn't be getting involved on the admin level, so I wouldn't have really told them. I would have just told you that you're wrong.
So basically what you're saying is you just wanted an opportunity to tell me that I'm wrong.
I don't get many opportunities to tell you that you're wrong, so yes, that's exactly what I wanted.
Well, I mean, I am fairly often I am quite right in the things that I say. So yes, it does make sense that you haven't had an opportunity to tell me that I'm wrong. So
So modest. I haven't met anyone as modest as you, to be honest with you. Who's never wrong and so modest.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Anytime.
I think I'm quite modest. Me bathing in my modesty.
What does it feel like to bathe in modesty? Is it soft on your skin?
It really is, hey. It kind of makes you feel really refreshed and better than everyone else. So.
All right, well, let's talk about what happened there. I mean, you did touch on it a little bit, but that was quite a good move. I mean, Arctos could have gone down and that would have thrown a spanner in the entire plan. But the split focus that they did and the payload just uncontested for so long, and by the time Team Mist contested, they were severely disadvantaged in the fight.
I think what really happened there was we had a lot of people saying pause, and not really focusing on the fight at hand. Probably caused part of the problem as well. But it looks like we're going to be moving over to Hollywood. We're just waiting for them to restart the lobby here. Sorry, guys. A little bit of a mess up.
I think the message here is Trinoc actually knows the rules and we should trust him.
That's a good message.
Yeah.
I can stand behind that.
I mean,
message.
It's not often that I can say I know the rules. But when I do know the rules, I know the rules.
I mean, you very rarely know what's going on. So when you know what's going on, like,
Yeah, you should listen. You should
yeah.
definitely listen.
Because you're generally quite honest about when you don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you things that could be wrong.
I have a great clip of you telling everyone that you can't wait for the people to do the something at the something.
This is the something that they're doing. We are in the thing right now. They're doing the thing. And next week they'll be in a thing. One of them will be in a greater thing for money. It's a money thing. This is a potential money thing. Counts.
I mean, yeah, money's important, yo. I'd like some money. I wish I was a pro gamer. Get that bread.
It works out to 2,000. I did it this 2,500 a player. Wait, is that right?
That's a lot of money. No, that doesn't sound right. Is it 10,000 for first place or is it the full 15?
I don't actually know the answer to that one.
You see, this is what we were saying. He's always honest when he doesn't know what's going on.
I mean, I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna check right now.
Hell yeah, dude. You go find that out while we wait for the admins to well, supposedly admins have already made a ruling that they do need to restart this map, but some players are not convinced, so we are just waiting for the admins to bring down the banhammer, make the big boy decisions, and tell us where we need to go and what we need to do.
So it's a 15,000 rand for our prize pool, but it's worded the fight for the 15,000 rand prize pool. So it's either 5,000 to 33% split, or it's all go to the winner. I'm going to assume by the wording that it all goes to the winner, the 15,000.
I mean, that's a fair amount of dosh.
Yeah, 2,500 a player. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad and you didn't even have to fly to the location.
I mean, that's like half my salary, boys. Okay, it did take a while to get here though. It took a couple of weeks. So I mean, that's fair.
You should demand a higher salary. I don't think you should tell people that 2,500 rand is half your salary either.
I don't care if people know how much I earn. At least now they can believe me when I say I'm broke.
I know how much money you have given away.
Given away. I
Lent.
didn't give it away.
Lent.
Lent. Yeah.
I'm not going to tell people how much money you lent, but I know you can't. You can't say that you're broke.
I mean, I am. I don't have it anymore.
Yeah, but that's because you lent it to people.
Yeah, so it's gone. I can't use it. It's gone. It's forever dead. Maybe not forever, just for a couple of months. Still waiting for these admins.
All right, I'm gonna switch over to some music. So guys, stick around because I'm just gonna end up. It's just gonna become a banter fest. No one wants that. No one wants that. As if in spite, they just decided to start almost as I switched over to that screen. So welcome back. They have decided to continue this map, which means that the fourth map series is going to be a hybrid set, I'm assuming, because, I mean, that would make sense to me. And 1.2 Elite Gaming right now.
Interesting that they are going to be continuing to run this Pharah into a Widow and a Soldier. But of course, that heavily depends on the Widow and the Soldier's ability to kill I Love Mangoes. I Love Mangoes is quite far out of line of sight of at least one of those hit scans and doing a lot of damage, but not quite building up ultimates fast enough. We've got some nice ultimates online here for Elite Gaming. They do have the Earth Shatter and the Sound Barrier. What?
I don't know. It's probably because Mike Lely left the game, but he's just a coach.
Right.
We can go on without him.
Lelele
words.
disconnect. So we're waiting for Lelele, which I'm assuming is Mish.
Laylee.
Yeah, Mike Lelelelelel. That's what I call
Laylee.
him. No, I
But
call
it's
him Mike Lelelel.
but it's wrong.
But that's what I call him. I mean, technically, I call him Mishimu. I mean,
I mean, I would
Let's not
rather
get
go
into
with I would rather
semantics
go
here.
with Mishimu than le le le
all
le
right.
le.
So while we wait for that guy, let's look at these ultimates. So we've got the Earth Shatter and the Sound Barrier, and they are pushing forward quite steadily here. It's gonna
Oh, do you
take.
want a breakdown of the prizes?
Yeah, go for it.
Wait, let me see if I can understand this. First place 4,500, second place 3,500, third place 2,500. Coaches first place 2,500, second place 1,250, third place 750. So
Huh.
they are currently the team that doesn't win this one gets 2,500 rand.
That's not bad. I'm kind of regretting not being a coach.
Should have done it, and then
Yeah,
made your
should've done
team
it,
win.
man.
And if they didn't
Hell
win,
yeah.
slap them.
I should have made a team and then had all of my Overwatch coach friends play on their accounts. I mean, what?
No, what? That would never happen.
I'd never do that.
No one would ever do that. What are you talking about?
All right, so let's bring it back here. Team Mist Gaming coming through with absolutely no ultimates. Cool Dressing about to have the Transcendence, and that's really going to come in handy because there are quite a few ultimates online for Elite Gaming, including the Reaper Death Blossom. So if they can get a really good Earth Shatter and couple that with the Death Blossom, that can be pretty damn huge. But again, there is that Transcendence, which could negate it. We've also got the Tactical Visor, and the only thing to deal with that from Elite Gaming is going to be the Sound Barrier. It can do a lot to protect from it, but if there's a lot of other damage coming in as well, then it might not be enough. However, we're going to have the Dragon Strike any second now as well, which is really great zoning tool. Less about getting picks and more about just making sure that the team is split up and you can focus down 2 or 3 heroes instead of, a whole 6. Yeah. I think it's looking pretty good here for Elite Gaming as they push forward on this payload, but the recontest is just around the corner.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, there's 2 hit scan brought out, obviously, to deal with this Pharah. So it could be interesting how I Love Mangoes deals with that and stays in the sky or doesn't stay in the sky.
So I'm just having an argument here with Arctos.
You don't need to argue with them. You could just accept what he's saying to you.
But it's Arctos. Well,
The player knows how to pronounce his own name.
Then he should know how to spell it.
All right, well, we're going back in.
All right, we are back in the mix, boys.
Okay, well, let's see what I Love Mangoes does. He's being quite aggressive here, going over the top. Trizzle just trying to spam him down with the sniper. Does manage to get the shot off, and I Love Mangoes goes down. Reaper shut off Octos, unable to get that Death Blossom off. Does manage to get the Zenyatta. And I Love Mangoes gets pulled back into the fight by Kita. Going to get spammed down once again by Trizzle, but the Pharah Mercy is there. Kita's trying to keep them alive. And it seems to be working out for them. Lolgod, the last left alive on this point, goes down, and that's going to be 2 points for Elite Gaming as they move forward into the hardest point of Dorado.
Yep, you're not wrong about that. The low ceilings are going to make it a little bit more difficult for the Pharah, and of course, the geometry here is quite strange, but there's a lot of flanking potential, so it might work out well for them, and we're going to see Trizzle swapping off onto the McCree again to just deal with I Love Mangoes, and the sightlines are not great for Widow, so it is a very good swap off. I'm interested to see what angle they do decide to take. It looks like Love Mangoes is just going to continue to spam some damage down, and a nice early pick-off onto Cool Dressing is going to give them a lot of free push on this payload.
It's a very interesting strategy running with the triple DPS. They send them quite aggressively into the lines of Team Mist. It's working out quite nicely. Misty Falcon shields off that Earth Shadow by Pretz, but his team is not so lucky in the end. Transcendence out by Cool Runnings. Make sure that Pretz can't get much value with the hammer, but the payload is inches away, and I Love Mangoes comes with a huge barrage. Gets rid of the shield on Pretz, but Misty Falcon responds with an Earth Shadow of themselves. Although going down is not a good situation, and that's going to be it, as it's only Metal Snow and Lolgod left to contest this out and try and make something happen for their team. Rael brings out the Roadhog, and now he is there with the big man with the belly, and they're just trying to make this work. Team Mist does not want Elite Gaming to get this payload through to the final point, and it's just a trading blows fight right now, but it's going in the way of Elite Mist as it stands. Dragon Strike goes on through, gonna just clear away and zone away Team Mist. High Noon comes out, gets huge value, 2 supports down. It's gonna spell the doom of Elite Mist's attack. Elite Gaming's attack. Brett's looking low. They have to focus down now. Team Mist need to do something if they're gonna hold this one out, and they finally get a breath of fresh air and stop that inevitable snowball.
That was insane, and the High Noon from Trizzle did so much to help win that out. In fact, Elite Gaming should have won that fight, but eventually the concentration got a little bit split up there and they weren't able to clutch it out to the end. However, they've still got 3 minutes. I mean, they're not worried about a damn thing. They did use a lot of their ultimates there, but they are coming back with another Earth Shatter, another Death Blossom, and another Rocket Barrage. Looking very good here coming into this next fight, whereas Team Mist, they got none. It's going to be very difficult for them to build up anything to deal with what's coming. But if Trizzle can get another nice High Noon...
I was just going to say, Trizzle needs to do some work to counter that Pharah, and does a good job of it. Press gets a huge Earth Shatter down, now catches more gods. Death Blossom is down, and the picks are in their favor. All of the ups being thrown out here by Elite Gaming as they want to get onto that point. A sneaky revive puts Misty Falcon in a very awkward situation, and he gets booped out of the way by the Lucia. Rail comes out with the whole hog, gets some value, but no one is on the payload, and Pretz is able to push it forwards uncontested. So, a very, very scrappy fight in the end there. Wasn't the cleanest, but it worked in Elite Gaming's favor, and they got 2 minutes and 27 seconds on the clock.
Somebody clip Mist Falcon going for a fly over the wall, please. Oh, that was so funny. A little bit unfortunate there. Got booped out of his charge, somehow went up into the sky and was unable to continue contesting payload. Didn't have a shift to get back to payload. So, fairly easy cleanup there from Elite Gaming. And, you know, this is what I was saying a little bit earlier, that they are managing to do better on this escort map, because there isn't that point that they need to try and capture and hold on to. So really good play coming through from them here, and we're going to be swapping sides now. And as you say, 2.5 minutes that Elite Gaming, no, not Elite Gaming, Team Mist,
Elite Mist,
yeah.
Team Gaming. We are Team Gaming.
Team game.
No.
Yeah, so the Misty Boys, I'm gonna call them the Misty Boys. We're gonna see what kind of an attack they're gonna be coming through here, and it looks like it's gonna be dive adjacent. They're gonna be going with a Pharah dive, quote unquote, and I think that the spam damage from the Pharah is going to do a lot for them, especially against this bunker composition, which looks quite dangerous. They've got the Bastion and the Mei, and that's going to be huge. The Mei walls are going to deny so much space. The multi-freeze, you know, freeze out a hero. I Love Mango sprays them down. This is a dirty composition, and the Pharah is probably just what they need.
Well, the dive is on, and of course the invincibility shield is out almost immediately, and that's just going to make sure that the dive has 0 value out of there. I Love Mangoes pops off with the Bastion, he has a little bit too much fun, and now it's just Lolgod, Metal Snow trying to contest this one themselves, but they go down, and Lolgod, you're in a very bad situation. Don't try get that sneaky revive, because it's going to go badly.
Yeah, where they're setting up here makes it very difficult to make a rotation, but a nice rotation that they could make is actually to go below on the left side, come up, and then engage onto them. Now there is that small corridor which could make it difficult, but what they're doing now is just free ult charge for this Bastion.
Yeah, a little bit silly how they're moving onto that, and just continuously diving into that invincibility shield is not working out in their favor. Oh, but there we go, configuration tank is out. So maybe a little bit of popped early, because at the moment it resulted in this epic barrage in the back line as Elite Gaming was caught out of space, out of position, and now Mist have the advantage.
Nice attack then. Unfortunately, the Mercy used to res onto the Batiste, which means that when the Bastion went down, she wasn't able to res the Bastion. And while resing, obviously she can't heal anybody, so the rest of her team just got completely wiped out. Very, very good attack here from Team Mist. Didn't have to worry about any sort of a rotation. They just went straight forward. But the recontest is going to be attempted.
Yeah, it's a very interesting recontest because they're still running the Bastion, so they're trying to have to set that up while also recontesting the point. Self-destruct is out, gets 0 value, but too high in the sky. But Pretz gets the remake back, doesn't get taken advantage of. Dragon Blade into that zone is going to have huge effect as he gets a triple kill, and now Spazimi with the Baptiste, the last contestant in this fight, and that's going to be at 2 points on the line for Team Mist.
The problem here is that they've got no defensive ultimate from Elite Gaming. They don't have a Lucio, they don't have a Zenyatta, they don't even have a Brigitte, and that's not even like a strong defensive ultimate, that's more of an offensive ultimate, but at least it gives you some armor to potentially deal with something. What they're running at the moment is just pure offense.
Naughty Monk did not see the sneaky strats as they hit on that corner there and gets immediately focused down, and now it's a bad situation because the barrage is out, and that's a 3k on the board. Octos does manage to get one back, getting Metal Snow, but the revive is on. It's Pretz and Octos alone. This is a bad place to be if you are those two heroes right now. Octos using that shadow step just to get out of that situation, but he doesn't have the health ready to sustain through here, and Pretz makes his way to try contest the payloads, which has given Elite Gaming some time to get their wits about them and get back to defend, but it's not going to last too long if you're losing that main tank so haphazardly in such a quick situation. Mangoes brings out the McCree to deal with Male Snow in the sky, but gets pushed back by Rael and Male Snow, who are having none of it, and this is looking good and looking strong for Team Mist as they go into the second point.
And again, they're not running any good counter composition here. They're running this weird Winston with like a Reaper and a Soldier. They've got a dive tank with wall hero, wall DPS. You know, if you're going to be going for this composition, you should probably be going for like a Hammond to create some dissension in the backline. Winston doesn't really work out too well in this comp, and yet somehow they seem to be making it work, I guess.
Misty Falcon with the most amazing Matrix save, eating that Death Blossom wholeheartedly and making sure there's no value. Dragon Blade goes out and gets 2. It's just Pretz left alive once again, and there's going to get that second point with poor Pretz can come back to the ground. Kita out of position and alone. Could just get focused down on, but I guess the comms were a little bit lacking there because no one really turned around to face him. Although in the end, Kita does go down, and this is giving a lot of free push to the men of Team Mist as they get rid of Octos as well, and the stagger is there.
So now, the problem that I'm seeing from Elite Gaming is that they're trying to kind of counter by hero instead of countering a composition. They've got the McCree for the Pharah. He gets nothing with his high noon, unlucky. And then they've got the Reaper for the tank, and like they're not running a proper composition to deal with what Team Mist is throwing at them, and because their team composition doesn't have synergy with each other, that's why it's not working out and why they're unable to hold properly. But it looks like they are going to make a semi-decent stand here, and they might actually be able to shave down the time and give themselves some extra time should they need to attack once again. They do have 2 ultimates online here in the Earthshatter and the Valkyrie, but the attack looking pretty strong with that self-destruct, the primal for pushing people aside, the barrage for tons and tons of damage. Gonna need to look out for that McCree, but this could be the attack that they need.
Valkyrie is out. There we go. The barrage is down. No value from it, however, but it did give a little bit of distraction for Mr. Falcon and Trizzle to come out on top. Azego's going to push all the way through. A little bit of a hack comes out from the Sombra from Zini, and the pause is on. And it is, as you're saying, Naori, they're relying more on their players' skills to push them through these fights, individually countering rather than working together as a solid defensive wall. And it's resulting in this push that we see now where, I mean, Mist is entirely in the back of Elite Gaming, all the way in their spawn doors and not too phased about it.
It looks like one of the players has got some insane ping. So while they try and sort that out, I just want to talk about the composition that we've seen the swap onto. And I like this a lot more than what they were running. The only issue I have is, once again, they don't have a defensive ult. Trizzle is absolutely destroying them every time he gets Blade. So it's really an issue that they're not able to deal with. They've got the Sombra, which is going to do a lot for them if they can get a hack onto the Diva or onto the Pharah and, you know, create an issue because those are very mobile heroes. You take away their mobility and they're very easy to deal with. And then, of course, they've got that McCree also to be dealing with the Pharah. This is a far more synergistic composition. It's not ideal, it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than what they had. All they need now is something that can help defend against that Genji blade, and they will be able to hold a lot stronger. Team Mist have been running the same composition the whole way through, and it's good. It's working out really well for them. They know that they don't have that Elite Gaming doesn't have anything to deal with their Genji. They know that Metal Snow has fairly free reign in the sky because even though there is a McCree from Elite Gaming, he's not countering that Pharah as well as he could be, as well as he should be. So Metal Snow has really got a lot of free reign up in the sky. They're getting tons and tons of damage out. This composition is working really well for them. And I mean, already you can see they're not going to have the same time bank that Elite Gaming have. But they should be able to push this to the last point.
I think, okay, there was a pause deal happening that was confusing. Anyway, Trizzle with the blade goes back to the point just to try to get rid of Prince and Kita. So they have reformed and now are in a more solid unit. This gives Team Mist a great advantage, although they do lose a little bit of that control over locking down the spawn areas. I mean, Naughty Monk might not be so valuable right now on that Ana, however, as the payload keeps moving forwards and Team Mist looks unperturbed, not really scared about this at all. High Noon comes out, but immediately dived upon by Trizzle, who shuts him down instantly. Logo does go down, but that was beautiful game sense from Trizzle to do that. Kita takes him out and is going to get the revive. But man, that Trizzle, I think that earns a play of the map at least, as Team is just going to keep pushing forwards.
They are continuing to push forward. Nice big EMP though, that could be exactly what they need.
Yeah, a beautiful EMP, but it doesn't really matter because Primzini does not have a team to take advantage of it. He goes down and now it's just Naughty Monk contesting and inches away as they get this. They don't have the time on their side, however, so it is going to be Team Mist to attack first. But man, that was a crazy roller coaster ride of events.
Really, as you said, a fantastic deflect from Trizzle. Unfortunately, not able to save his Mercy, but saves himself and takes out the McCree in the process. And that was actually really well played. The res did come through, however, and we are going to see them take a time bank of 1:30, which is about a minute less than what they would have liked. We're going to see now, as you mentioned, another round, and this is where things get spicy because it's very difficult to push in overtime. It can be done. We've seen it done before where overtime starts out somewhere in this first point area and carries on all the way through the streets phase and you know, out towards the third point. It is possible, but it's insanely difficult. And with the amount of team wipes that we've been seeing from both of these teams, I don't know how likely it is. Coming through on defense here, they're not running that same Bastion composition. They've realized that it's not going to work out. It didn't work the first time. It probably won't work this time. They are going to be running a triple DPS again, and once again, strange heroes to be picking. The Reaper pick in particular is very weird. He's a very off-meta hero at the moment because it is so easy to shut him down, and yet these teams seem to be making him work, so maybe it's not such a bad thing. They are going to be going for the Ashe as well as the McCree to deal with Metal Snow, get him out of the sky as quickly as possible. That's kind of their win condition here. Make sure that they can get rid of that Pharah so that they don't have to worry about too much spam damage, that they can also deal with the Genji. But once again, no defensive ultimate.
Well, the dive is on, and that's going to be bad for Elite Gaming, as they're just going to be pushed over that high ground. Arctos going for Metal Snow, though. Looks like, as you're saying, that is the focus of these fights. Get rid of Metal Snow. Make sure he has no space to work with in the sky. But it's not going in their favor. The focus might be a bit off here, as Cool Dressing having a little bit too much fun with the Lucio in the back line and leaves Pretz alive and alone. This is going to give them a little bit of free push. They might even make it all the way past the fountain before any response from Elite Gaming can come through.
Yep, very easy push here. As you said, free push, free real estate, and Metal Snow just not being contested. Isle of Mango's actually having a really difficult job needing to deal with both the Genji and the Pharah, and that's what's really causing issues for him. They've already managed to take this first point. They're not going to get more time on the clock, so they are going to need to stay on that payload as long as possible. But looking very strong here. They've got the Primal Rage. They've got the Valkyrie. They're about to have a barrage. We're going to have a Blade any second now. And Elite Gaming not faring as well on the ult economy side. They might have a Valkyrie fairly soon, but it's not going to be enough to deal with Mist Gaming's ult bank here.
Yeah, unfortunately for Elite Gaming, Mangoes is carrying the weight of the world on his shoulder right now. He's just trying to get rid of the deadliness that is happening in the sky. The Dragon Blade in the back line, though, a little bit uncontested. Fritz shuts him down immediately. He says, no, sir, no blade for you. Bob comes out, and the Earth Shatter from Press is there. Mist Falcon going to get DMAC, but a Primal Rage from the big man with the monkey hands is just going to knock him back and make sure that the value cannot be had to its full extent. Valkyrie from Lagard just trying to sustain his team through here. Mailstack comes up with the barrage. Does get rid of Kita, but Mangoes once again coming out on top in that fight, using that head scan to great effect, and just really wants his team to be able to hold this one off. It is the overtime counter, and there is a souped up Beyblade on the table. Yes, that's the words I was looking for. Arctos goes for Beyblade, but eaten away by Misty Falcon, who's been on point with the Matrix tonight. And that leaves Arctos running away with the Shadow Steps. Just Naori Monk and Arctos left defending this point. And it goes down, but Mangoes is revived in the backline. So Elite Gaming slowly but surely just keeping a very constant steady stream of heroes in this fight. The Deadeye comes out, Metal Snow goes down, and this could be the end of Team Mist. But Cool Dressing gets back and eventually is supported by the Winston of Rael. Pretz is there, a little bit overextended and might be focused down almost immediately. Gets put to sleep, and then it comes out with a very sneaky Earth Shatter instead in retaliation of what was happening to him. Fortunately, no team really gaining any ground as of yet. The sound barrier is going to make sure that Team Mist have all the health they need, but it does not help Rael. And as a result, Team Mist are missing that main tank, the big man, and only Misty Falcon and Logo are left to contest this one out.
So much happened in that fight, and I just... You get to that point where you're like, well, that was the longest fight in history, and I don't even know where to start. So many ultimates came through there. We saw a fantastic nano boost onto the Reaper, but as you said, the entire ultimate got eaten out by the Diva. Diva still got demech'd by it, and then a little bit later we saw the Earth Shatter coming through, but a nice boop from the Pharah meant that the Earth Shatter got absolutely no value. He effectively shattered a wall, and didn't matter that they lost that ultimate because they still managed to hold strong, and Payload did not get to the second point. I mean, that was an all-out brawl, quite an epic battle. And yeah, I mean, the engagement there was the Genji that altered. He managed to get the Ana out, but got smacked to death by the Reinhardt. And there was so much denial in that fight. I think that was the biggest theme in that entire fight, was just denying ultimates over and over again. And that's what really helped Elite Gaming hold on so that Mist didn't get to that second point.
Well, we have seen ultimates do wonders for Team Mist. So it was definitely the best tactic that they could have gone with in order to just stop the push from going any further.
Yeah, and now with this swap around, we're going to be seeing that bunker comp once again, but this time we're going to be seeing the Bastion from Team Mist, and it didn't work against them, so they're really hoping that it's going to be working for them. And of course, with that Batiste and the Soldier to deal with the Pharah, and I think this could be a nice way to... Yep, there you go. It's a good way to deal with that Pharah.
Yeah, Mango's a little bit too high in the sky, gets knocked out, but once again trying the split push with basically the similar hero composition, just swapped out the Hanzo for McCree. Although this time Team Mist a little bit wiser, gonna leave Trizzle to not get distracted by it, and Primzini gets focused down almost immediately. Arctos is still sneaking around the back line there, but losing that McCree might not be good. Although, once again able to just sneak this payload by that high ground, as Team Mist not aware of it. So worked out in their favor a little bit better this time, although because they didn't quite have the same effect with the split, they still have a hard team composition to fight up against here. Trizzle managing to set himself. He's just going to let him spam down, but doesn't matter because Misty Falcon and Mail Snow are going to do the work for him instead. Genji trying to challenge Trizzle there. Does not do too well on his own, and this is a good hold from Team Mist as they manage to regain control of a sticky situation.
What's nice about this, though, is that they have forced Team Mist back, which means they don't have that massive high ground control that they had earlier. Unfortunate stagger onto Octos there. Now they're going to have to wait for him to respawn. But again, they don't have to worry about the high ground issue. They just need to kind of run it down mid here. They are going to have to deal with the Roadhog and the Soldier up on the high ground. They're coming in with no ultimates. Most of their players are only halfway to ult, whereas on Team Mist, very close to 4 or 5 ultimates here. Looking really strong coming into this defense. We're down to just 40 odd seconds. I mean, really, Elite need to make a push here. They need to make a stand.
Yeah, they definitely need to just get in there and get going. Maybe the I Love Mangoes with the Dragon Blade could be the point that they need, but the invincibility is too strong and I Love Mangoes has no effect as a result. Earthshatter is out, Rael goes down, but the sound barrier is there from Cool Dressing, going to keep his team alive. And unfortunately for Elite Gaming, they have tried so hard and got not far enough here, and it is not going to be enough with 19 seconds left. They're in the final fight territory. Team Mist looking strong.
I mean, they need to get onto this payload, and that's the biggest issue because it might cause a trickle stagger effect. If you've got 1 or 2 people getting onto that point, that dragon is going to get absolutely nothing because there's no one there.
Yeah, and the attack visor is too strong from Metal Snow. He just shuts them down before they can make a move through. Only 3 members left of EGSA as they go onto this point. But Logod gets rid of Pretz, and that's going to be it. The overtime is going down, and there's no ways that EGSA is getting back to this point in time. Second map goes to Team Mist, but EGSA looking a lot stronger and maybe are ready to take Hanamura, as that seems to be the choice they're going with. That they went with, and now we'll go with.
Yeah, that's what we were looking at a little earlier, that Hanamura, and it might just be the map that we're going to see next. And again, it's going to come back to this capture point type map. It didn't work out too well for them when we were on Lijiang Tower earlier for Elite Gaming. They did so much better on this escort map. Unfortunately, they weren't able to clutch the win. It was very close, but not close enough. Now we're going to be moving back onto the capture type point, and that's going to be a little bit difficult for them, especially... So I said to ignore everything I said about Hanamura. I'm going to bring it back now. A lot of really good choke points there, especially on first point. Really a good point for things like Mei, Farah, Junkrat, Ash, anything that does tons and tons of damage. That's kind of what you want on first point. We could even see a bunker with a Mei. So you have the Mei there for some walling, kind of split up the attacking team, and then you've got possibly a Bastion or a Torbjorn to be doing tons and tons of damage from your bunker with your Batiste keeping you alive. So that's kind of what the first point is all about. Second point is a lot more difficult to hold. There is a nice treehouse defense that you can use, but it is fairly easily dealt with if you've got like a Dragon Strike or a self-destruct or something like that. But in this low SR, we do see a lot of teams struggle to deal with that treehouse defense. So if that is something that we see, then whoever's attacking may just struggle as well. Coming through on the attacking side, now that we've kind of spoken about the defense, attacking again, you do see a lot of that triple DPS, and very often you also see that GOAT's composition, especially for first point. Second point, fairly good for a nice dive composition. GOAT's being so grouped up makes it fairly easy to deal with, especially if you're running a bunker, because everybody kind of funnels in together, whereas a dive might be better off. But again, it's all going to come down to, waiting, I guess. We just have to wait and see what these teams are going to run out with.
I pressed the wrong button.
How dare you?
I know.
What button did you press? Did you stop streaming?
No, I've just pressed the button that switches to the game screen, and everyone got to see the lobby.
Oh.
For a brief second of life.
I mean, there are worse buttons you could have pushed.
You're not wrong. There are
worse. You could have
worse
muted me through my entire.
Oh, you've been muted the entire stream.
Yeah. It's a bit late now to say that.
No, it's never too late. Don't worry, the chat's on your side. I'd said you talk too much in chat, and someone said you're allowed to talk because you're fabulous.
Aww, what? That's so nice.
I agreed, though. I agreed.
Aw, thank you, Jason.
I got you. I got you, fam.
I mean, you're my favorite banterer, so.
You're a banterer.
You're not wrong. And it looks like it will be Hanamura.
It's a good thing it was Hanamura, because you just did a whole 10-minute thing about Hanamura, and imagine they're within no, we're going to, I don't know, wait, let me look at the map pool. We're going to go to a map that is Paris, yeah. Imagine they were like, we're going to Paris.
Hey, let's go, dude. I know things. I mean, Paris, Hanamura, same.
Not really.
Not even a little bit.
Hanamura is way more mobility focused.
Now that depends on which point you're talking about, but let's not digress too much here.
Yes. Let's not get distracted by other maps that don't matter when Hanamura is on the tables. And of course, I mean, these teams have been so closely matched, especially in that last round. It was just unfortunate that Team Mist managed to learn from their mistakes rather than repeating the mistakes of their defense, that EGSA wasn't able to do anything further on that point, that this could be quite a contested point, and it is known or named Draw Namura for a reason. So we could see quite a long round here of trading back and forth between these two teams.
Very possible, and I'm really keen to see what they're bringing out, because again, we've seen a lot of interesting compositions, so I really want to see if they're going to stick with what's quote-unquote meta, or if they're going to do some interesting stuff. And meta it shall be. We're going to be having a bunker composition on the defense here with the Orisa and the Roadhog. Once again, the Holt Hook, incredibly powerful, especially when you couple that with the immense damage from the Bastion, and then of course, the Mei to split up the enemy team, possibly get one or two people out of position as they come through that choke, which will make it so easy for Bastion to just completely spray them down. On the attacking side, it is going to be floats, and it's going to be a standard floats, or Winston Goats, coming with these Zenyatta.
Can we just
and I think that
not say floats
Moira,
ever?
It's called floats.
No.
It is.
We've had this
though.
conversation. Stop.
I don't care. I told you I'm going to call it floats because that's what it's called. Anyway.
Okay.
Well,
That was a
you don't
very
have
cute
problem with
re
bunker.
followed by a very abrupt anyway.
Anyway, like, you don't have a problem with bunker. Why do you have a problem with floats?
Because bunker's an actual name.
So is floats.
All right, well, let's talk about the engagement as the wall comes out. I'm just going to lock Pritz and I Love Mangoes behind that, and the pause is going to come out as I'm talking about it. That was a textbook entry from EGSA, though. I Love Mangoes popped the Amped up, and as he popped the Amped up, they engaged, but the wall was just a little bit too good, maybe a little bit too slow, could have locked down a bit too more. But as we see it, Pritz and I Love Mangoes in a very awkward situation.
Yeah, they're not looking too good here. I mean, Arctos has already gone down, which is unfortunate. And then Pret's looking very low here. It's going to be so easy to deal with that mech. Even with I Love Mangoes there, if he does like an amp it up on that healing, it's still not going to be enough to save Pret. And of course, the Mei wall is still up. What I want to see from Elite Gaming, and I really want to see if they are actually going to do this, they need to soft reset. They need to back up. They need to sacrifice Pretz. I Love Mangoes needs to go jump off a cliff, and they need to reset. It's really important. But let's see if that is in fact what they're going to do, as the pause will count down. And show me what you got, guys.
Show me what you got. Show me what you got.
Oh my god, Keith, not again.
the wall does go down, but I Love Mangoes and Arcos go into a land of not being alive anymore as a result. Brett gets demiked and gets taken out as well. His team is doing well to keep a handle of the situation and control the game in their favor.
At least Keita didn't have a rally that time.
It's true, because they would have popped it. 100% it would have been gone.
Keita diving straight in there, gets taken out. Of course, that's fed quite a lot of ult charge, particularly to this Bastion, who's about to have the configuration tank. They're not going to have the damage amplification matrix, but they're not really going to need it. Configuration tank is absolutely dangerous, and of course, Metal Snow can be freezing out a lot of people on that Mei. But Engage is out, wall is terrible, and hopefully this is where Elite brings it back.
Yeah, the wall was really not on point. I was really expecting more from Metal Snow, especially with Snow in his name, but the Corrupted Freeze did keep him alive for a little bit longer. Keita gets frozen, although they have control of the high ground, so the configuration tank might be a little bit of a waste, only getting 1 for the value of it. And now, EGSA have control of the area, although Naughty Monk's backing off as he's a little bit scared, and that's going to leave I Love Mangoes and Keita alone and afraid in this point. And I Love Mangoes just going to use that Lucio to try and boot himself around, but gets taken out by his counterpart, and Team Mist not having to deal with too much in that fight. EGSA got to do better.
Such a strong hold there, but what I'm happy to see is that in that whole engagement, only one ultimate was used, and that was the configuration tank. And Trizzle already to about 55% to another configuration tank. He's doing so much on this Bastion. The attack are going to be coming in. Keita's got that rally, a good engagement ultimate. Let's see if they do use that. There we go.
Well, they are on the point and the wall wasn't up, but there is a blizzard and it's going to just lock down 4 of EGSA on the point, although Naori with the Transcender is going to keep his team alive. Megasnow gets rid of Kita, so that's a good support to get rid of early in the fight, and that Naori is just going to be booped all the way off the map by a whole hog from Rail. Configuration tag once again is out, so Team is throwing away a lot of out potential in this fight. Trizzle comes out on top, and I Love Mangoes gets deleted from the planet by an explosive right to the face. Just 2 members left of EGSA trying to stick around the side. They are going to encounter Trizzle on the Bastion, and the rest of Team Mist is going to come to respond. Naughty Monk and Pretz need to get onto the point, and Pretz does manage to get there, but he's being chased down by 6 members of Team Mist in a very scary situation here. Wall goes out, just going to block off Pretz and Kit. And that's going to be it for Kita as Pretz gets demeched, possibly frozen and taken out himself. And there we go, a little bit of a stagger. So EGSA going to have to wait a little bit longer before they can get back in this fight.
Kita is playing far too aggressively and getting caught out of position far too often, and it's costing the team in the long run. It's helping build ult charge for the enemy, which is the last thing you want to do. Now we've got 2 ultimates online for the defense. One of those is going to be the sound barrier, and then of course the damage amplification matrix. You plop that down in front of Trizzle, and Trizzle's actually going to burn through the entirety of Elite Gaming. Elite Gaming now have 30 seconds to push with 2 ultimates, the Graviton and the Bomb. If they can get a good Graviton onto that high ground and get a nice bomb out, then they can definitely push onto point, but that's really going to take a lot of synergy and a lot of communication, and this is what I want to see from Elite. This is their win condition. Can they get off this grab bomb?
There we go, that's the wall that you needed to go through, although it didn't let 2 of the tanks through, and Winston dives over the top, just gives the team some support. Grab is out, this dislodges Trizzle from that high ground, but team is still looking good, still in a good position, although with that self-destruct, nothing actually of value happened in return, and the blizzard is huge, and that's just going to wipe out EGSA entirely. There's going to be no response for the overtime as there's no one left alive.
I mean, that bunker was just too strong. They couldn't push through. They knew what they needed to do. I think what would have really worked for them is possibly a nice Sombra instead of the Diva. That's usually who you swap out. So you bring in a Sombra, you get some nice hacks either onto the Bastion or the Diva, or I mean even the Batiste to get the immortality field out of the way. They could have done so much more, and then a nice big EMP. If the EMP was in the middle of absolutely everybody, they could have just barreled straight through Team Mist, but unfortunately they didn't think of it, they didn't do it, and they were unable to push through the defensive Bastion. Trizzel did a lot of work. In fact, Trizzel has been doing a lot this whole game. No matter what hero we see him on, he does very good work, and particularly on the Genji and the Bastion really has been shining.
I would love to see a 1v1 fight of Trizzle taking on I Love Mangoes.
That would be so good.
I think that would be a fantastic 1v1 to watch.
Hell yeah. After this game, we'll do it. We'll cast it. It'll be huge.
Yeah, just message them now quickly. Just make sure they're in, hang around.
Yeah, otherwise it's just be you and me in a lobby waiting for something to happen.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen.
Oh, unlucky.
I'm sorry. So, Bungie Comp of their own. EGSA going to try to do the exact same thing to Team Mist as what Team Mist did to them, but Team Mist only needs 33%, so it has to be the best bunker they've ever performed in their entire life, or it is going to be the end of days.
Yeah, well, I mean, this worked so well against them. They're thinking, well, surely it'll work in our favor, and we've seen that. In fact, Team Mist did it on the last map. Something didn't work well against them, they made it work. So now we see Elite, something that did work against them. Hopefully it's going to work for them.
The wall is out, but too many of Team Mist get through that wall. It's not a very good wall. It has a little bit of a gap, and that's just going to allow Team Mist to just throw right on through. Although Naughty Monk getting rid of Misty Falcon, not really the best situation for Team Mist right now. Rail comes with the counter pick though. Pretz does pop off himself, but it's very much in the favor of Team Mist as it stands, as Cool Dressing punches his way through Kita, who's obviously a bit more used to playing the Brigitte than they are playing that Mercy, and this puts them on the point, and the 33% is in the bag. A quick capture for Team Mist as they close it out, and I guess get to go to bed.
Elite, guys, your bunker, you've got to know how bunker works. You can't leave your Bastion alone on the high ground without a shield, without a support, without any kind of help, because you're going to see exactly what we just saw, and that is the Bastion got slept, and then when he woke up, he got melted by the Zarya. He had absolutely no protection. I mean, yes, the whole enemy's on the field. I mean, the first misplay was that wall that was like the wrong way around. and the entirety of Team Mist managed to push straight through onto point completely uncontested. And then, of course, you left your Bastion alone up on the high ground. Massive misplay there. And unfortunately, we will not be seeing Elite Gaming go through to the final. It will be Team Misty Boys.
But I mean, Elite Gaming coming in third do take home that share of prize money. I can't remember the amount right now. Do you remember the amount?
The 15,000?
They take a share of the 15,000.
Yeah, you said a share of that prize money. That was.
No, I know how much the total prize money is. I don't know how much that they take home.
I'm pretty sure you said it was 2.5. Oh, you mean the second place or the third place?
The third place, Elite Gaming are third.
I got no clue. You assume I was listening when you said all of that.
I do assume you listen, but you also assume I listen. So.
Well, there you go. I mean, so basically, we're both assuming the other person is listening, and neither of us are actually listening.
Yeah, but it is going to be Team Mist going through to that final, taking on Vidir Esports in the grand final of the Overwatch Spotlight Takeover. I'm sure we'll be back for that. Do you have things to say right now?
No, just yeah, everybody be ready, be excited for the final that is coming up. It will be casted, and it's going to be a spicy battle between these two teams vying out for that prize money. So yeah, and thanks for casting with me, Jason. I always enjoy it.
It's a pleasure, Sam. Apparently someone wants to keep us.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I like being kept.
I don't know how I feel about being kept.
I don't know, it makes me feel special.
All right. I mean, cool. I don't know what to say with that. Okay, so let me finish this off. Let me wrap this up. Well done to Team Mist Gaming, and we'll definitely see them in the next match in the grand final. And until that time, you guys out there in the wilderness of Overwatch, stay good and keep playing Overwatch or something. That's it from Naori and I. Goodbye.
Bye.